Hey Z School! Alright, when we think about social justice work, we often picture people marching, organizing, or advocating for a particular cause. Behind many successful social movements are organizations that build the relationships, skills, and infrastructure that make collective action possible. So right now I'm sitting at a rectangle table. However, today I am here to tell you about the Jewish Social Justice Roundtable. And it is one of these amazing organizations that builds relationships. The Jewish Social Justice Roundtable is a national network of Jewish nonprofit organizations committed to pursuing social justice from a Jewish perspective. Today, the Roundtable brings together 67 affiliated organizations that work across a wide range of issues, including racial justice, immigration, economic justice, democracy, LGBTQ inclusion, and combating anti-Semitism. Rather than focusing on one issue area, the Roundtable creates a space where organizations can learn from one another, collaborate, and strengthen the broader Jewish social movement. Who does this organization serve? The Roundtable primarily serves Jewish social justice organizations and the professionals who lead and work within them. Its affiliates range from a large national organization to some smaller grassroots groups, and they are all united by a commitment to making justice a core expression of Jewish life. By investing in these organizations, the Roundtable indirectly impacts thousands of people that they serve across the country and around the world. The purpose of the Jewish Social Justice Roundtable is to strengthen and align the Jewish social justice field in order to make justice a core expression of Jewish life and help create a more equitable world. Its vision is a loving, caring, and equitable world in which power is shared and people are free from injustice. Importantly, the Roundtable does not seek to create complete agreement among its affiliates. Instead, it recognizes that diversity of thought and experience makes the network stronger. Organizations within the network may focus on different issues or bring different perspectives to difficult conversations, but they remain committed to shared Jewish values, specifically dignity, justice, relationship building, and collective responsibility. The Roundtable addresses an important need within the Jewish community and in the nonprofit sector. Finally, what kind of power does the Jewish Social Justice Roundtable hold or build? Its greatest strength is its ability to build relational power. By connecting dozens of organizations and hundreds of leaders, it creates networks of trust that make collaboration possible. It also builds educational power by offering trainings, communities of practice, and leadership development opportunities focused on topics such as racial equity, organizational culture, and conflict navigation. The Roundtable develops institutional power by helping organizations become healthier, more resilient workplaces that are better equipped to fulfill their missions. And perhaps, most importantly, it cultivates moral and grassroots power by affirming that the pursuit of justice is deeply rooted in Jewish values and traditions. When organizations work together, their collective voice becomes more visible, influential, and effective than any single organization could be on its own. The Jewish Social Justice Roundtable reminds us that meaningful social change is not only about what we do, but is about how we do it. By investing in relationships, collaboration, and shared learning, it is helping to build a stronger and more connected Jewish social justice movement for the future.
Good evening. I'm Ziva Gunther. Tonight, we're turning our attention to a small nonprofit in Northampton, Massachusetts that's quietly reshaping how Jewish spiritual leaders build community. It's called Beloved, and its mission is simple to say, but ambitious in practice. Support the people who are creating new spaces of belonging so those spaces can thrive. Our report tonight looks at who Beloved is, what they do, and the woman leading the effort. Here's the story. At its core, Beloved supports and nourishes open-hearted spiritual leaders as they create and sustain new spaces of sacred belonging. The organization describes its own leaders as people with a vision for the world they want to cultivate, and Beloved's job is to help make that vision take root. The leaders Beloved works with draw on an old idea in Jewish life that community happens best at an intimate scale, a minyan, a dinner table, person to person. Beloved's network cultivates spaces, in person and online, where people can be understood, nurtured, connected, and not alone. Beloved says it strengthens leaders in two ways, through support and through nourishment. On the support side, that means real operational help, communications and donation platforms, executive fundraising and coaching, bookkeeping and discounted fiscal sponsorship. It also means training, how to budget, how to fundraise from individuals and foundations, how to organize a community from the ground up. On the nourishment side, Beloved offers retreats, peer support, and what it calls spiritual formation, conversations that the organization says the leaders can't have anywhere else. The goal is to sustain leaders personally, not just professionally, while they build collective power for the future of American Jewish life. Beloved runs this work through a handful of core programs: Beloved Seeds, Beloved Garden, Beloved Festival, all of which are underpinned by fiscal sponsorship. The first is Beloved Seeds, a year-long course for people creating a brand new project, taught monthly by two of Beloved's own leaders, Rabbi Sarah Luria and Kohenet Kashira Halev Fife. Leaders who complete that first year move into Beloved Garden, an ongoing web of support that includes communities of practice, coaching, mentoring, and continued community conversations, all building toward Beloved's annual in-person gathering. That gathering is the Beloved Festival, a multi-day event held on the campus of Smith College in the Beloved community's home region of Western Massachusetts. Organizers describe it as a multimodal experience meant to foster connection, offer spiritual nourishment, and let Beloved's leaders showcase their gifts with one another and the wider community. And underlying all of its fiscal sponsorship, the administrative backbone that lets new Jewish projects launch without having to build a whole nonprofit infrastructure of their own from scratch. Leading Beloved today is Rabbi Sarah Luria. Sarah is a rabbi, a founder, and in her own words, at her best, a cultivator of ideas and dreams. She stepped into leading Beloved after 4 years serving as the spiritual leader of Beloved Brooklyn. Before Beloved, Sarah founded and served as the executive director of Immerse NYC, a community mikvah project, an organization which is now part of JCC Manhattan. A Brooklyn native, Sarah now calls Northampton, Massachusetts home, where she lives with her husband Isaac, their 3 kids, and their dog Wallace. Beloved describes the world it's working towards this way: a world where no one is other, because we know we belong to each other, to the earth, and to our source. It's a small organization with a big theory of change, that what happens at a small scale sets the pattern for the whole system. Beloved's basis of work is around its 7 core values: image of God, listening, small is all, leaderful, embodiment, liberation, and beauty. After a thorough examination of their website, I can say with certainty that their work deeply reflects these values, perhaps none more so than the value image of God, which they say means we value each other simply because we are, not for what we can produce. We are called to practice this radical notion for ourselves and our beloveds and strive to imprint its far-reaching implications onto everything we do. For an organization built on the idea that belonging starts small, Beloved is betting that its work with individual leaders, one project at a time, can help grow into something much larger. Reporting tonight on Beloved, a nonprofit out of Northampton, Massachusetts, and online at belovedgarden.org. Back to you.
Thank you, Ziva and Jess, for those amazing presentations on 2 of the organizations that we will be meeting with this week. The last one I want to talk to you guys about this amazing organization called Newground. Newground is a Muslim-Jewish partnership for change. So, what does that mean exactly? I'll tell you. Newground is a Los Angeles-based organization that brings Muslims, Jews, and their allies together to build real relationships across lines of difference. It's founded on the belief that authentic relationships come before politics and that community strength depends on the people who can stay and have hard conversations together. They believe in transforming communities through the power of relationships. Now, their programming spans four areas: leadership development, a shared space for events, public facing storytelling, which they use to change public opinion, and consulting, where they now sell their facilitation expertise to other organizations. So, who are the people the Newground serves? The first one is high school students through their MAJIC leadership program, which stands for Muslims and Jews Inspiring Change, in the acronym MAGIC. It's a leadership training program that offers a select group of Muslim and Jewish high school students the opportunity to build communication skills and conflict literacy, creating lasting relationships across faith boundaries. They also work with early career professionals, gathered through their professional fellowship, developing the next generation of bridge builders. They also work with facilitators and educators who are trained through facilitation skills to lead hard conversations in their own communities. They also represent and work with the wider public through their community iftar, which is an amazing program in which Newground helps to end Ramadan at a local Jewish synagogue, helping to bridge the Jewish and Muslim communities together. They also do spotlight storytelling, where filmmakers can show films about issues in the communities, such as Gaza, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism. And they also do it through the Trailblazer Award, where they're able to award people in the community who have helped to bridge the boundaries. And this all is the big thread that connects all of this is what they call their change makers. Once someone goes through the Newground program, they often become a public face of the work, a fellow, a board member, a guarantee, a storyteller. And that smart design helps to turn participants into ambassadors. And Newground has had real impact in facilitation training and consultation at UCLA during the Gaza protests, at Hillel, at Patagonia, at Pepperdine University, and at the California Artists Association. Real organizations look to Newground to help facilitate issues within the Jewish and Muslim communities and helping to bridge the gaps and create peace. So, what is their purpose? Their overall mission is to equip Muslims and Jews and allies to bridge the vision and turn shared values into stronger communities and a healthier democracy. Their overall long-term vision, essentially, is an America where these communities can actually model what lasting partnerships look like. What is more important, in my opinion, are the needs that Newground addresses, like the lack of trust between Jewish and Muslim communities, few safe spaces to talk about Gaza, anti-Semitism, and Islamophobia without the entire room falling apart, and a shortage of trained facilitators who can hold difficult, high-stakes conversations with care. It's not just abstract bridge building. I see it as responding directly to a moment of real strain. The last thing I think is their power, which is impactful. They have relational power, which is in their own tagline, transforming communities through the power of relationships. They also have educational power, which comes in their facilitation training, where they not just hold space for themselves and their staff, but for the wider community. And this helps to multiply their reach. They have cultural and moral power, which shows up in their storytelling and film programming, their community iftar, and in the fact that local media calls on their leaders as trusted voices when tensions rise. They have institutional power with their community partners and their growing consultation practice where they sell their expertise to organizations. And they also have grassroots power, where they're able to essentially have a pipeline to youth and professional leaders who will carry their work beyond their institution and into other ones. I really see all of this being really impactful work where relationship is a strategy, where the training multiplies impact beyond just one staff team, and the purpose stays current. It's so interesting that essentially with Newground, their programming shifts from moment to moment between Gaza and anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, essentially working consistently to bridge the gaps between Muslim and Jewish communities in America. And I think that it's really impactful, and I'm really glad to get to speak with them this week. We'll be meeting with Andrea Holmes and Farad Fazell, so please take the time to think about questions in terms of some of the issues they might have faced when creating Newground and some of the issues they still work with today. Hope you all have enjoyed our presentation, and I'll see you all soon.